Welcome to Alternate Reality.
You had one version which had no voiceover. People, we didn't like the voiceover. I'm like, it's noir. It's supposed to have a damn voiceover.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, the guy doing the voiceover sucked.
Well, he was laconic.
Yeah, no, he sucked.
He was Harrison Ford.
No, he sucked. Yes, he was Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford reading his script monotone.
I'm Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford, yes.
How are you?
You can tell a replicant by the number of fingers he has up his nose at any given time.
It's Harrison Ford.
Wake me up when he's done.
In 2049, it'll probably be the same thing. 2049 is going to make a crap load of money on video.
You think so?
Yeah.
It sure as hell didn't make a crap load of money in...
well, it costs a lot of money, but it's a damn good movie.
Yeah.
It's a damn good movie.
You know what I noticed? What film wasn't in there that cost a crap load of money that died big in the theaters? Dune. and that has a following and a reputation behind it.
That's like...
But no, ironically, Dennis Villeneuve, who directed Blade Runner 2049, he's going to do a remake of Dune.
Oh, there you go.
A remake of...
And he's going to do for Blade Runner what he's going to do for Dune what he did for Blade Runner.
Go straight to what you call.
Well, Villeneuve, but he's a guy. He's probably going to direct the next Bond film. Yeah.
Okay.
Daniel Craig wants him.
Whatever Craig wants, probably.
Well,
Craig
it's his last movie.
It's his last movie.
It's his last movie.
Why does Craig want him?
Because he likes. Well, Daniel Villeneuve has done like about 3 or 4 great films in a row. Arrival was great. What did he do before that one? Sicario. He's done like 4 straight really high quality movies. He's basically become a big deal guy.
You know what he hasn't done?
What?
The podcast. Hey folks, Comic Book Man here. Welcome to the alternate reality.
Segway.
That's called a segue. That's called a segue, son. Welcome to the alternate reality. Welcome to our little podcast. As I said, I'm Comic Book Man. I'm being joined today by Bo.
Alf Landon.
Say hello, Bo.
Hello, kids.
Yeah, it still doesn't work.
I'm not going for that joke. It's never going to happen.
And Rod Flash is with us once again today. Say hello to everyone, Rod Flash.
3x2 minus 9 dash. Oh darn it!
What the hell are you talking
I was
about?
doing the Johnny Quick.
You're a replicant, aren't you?
The formula.
Let me give you a piece of advice. You
Yeah.
want to do that? Write it down and read it.
I know.
You're never going to memorize it.
I know. I wrote it down.
Very few people walking around can memorize it.
Johnny Quick had to write it on the back of his hand.
You know, that's the type of thing you write down to memory. We're coming to you from Alternate Reality, the best little comic book store in the city of Chicago, located on the south side in the Mount Greenwood neighborhood on 111th and Kedzie, where all new comics are 15% off every day for everyone. New Comic Wednesday starts at 7 a.m.
What?
New first issues are 25% off, and
Do you need Yvonne Craig stuff?
the 2 books of the week. No, we do not have any Yvonne Craig stuff. And our 2 books of the week are always 40% off. Of course, there's also Ladies' Day on Thursday, Super Sunday sale every Sunday, and we got more sales than you can shake a stick at. Today,
Shake a stick.
we're not here to talk about sales. We're here to talk about news. Yes, it's another news show. A lot of stories have been happening in the last week. One of the biggest was Shazam. Shazam got a Shazam this week, and Shazam also got a Dr. Savano this week.
Yes.
Which is sort of interesting because I thought Black Adam was supposed to be the villain for Shazam.
Black Adam is getting his own standalone movie. Dwayne Johnson does not share screen time with anyone else.
Oh, you've never seen the Fast and Furious movies, have you?
Oh,
He shares screen time
that's
with
another
a lot of
That's a
people.
whole nother story.
That's a whole nother story.
Yeah,
No,
that's the whole story.
that's a whole
He shares buku screen time with them.
Yeah.
That Fast and Furious may end up being the Friday the 13th of the 21st century.
Yeah, well, as I mentioned previously, we watched a thing today on Watch Mojo. It was talking about the 10 biggest billion-dollar franchises out there, and I think number 4 or 5 was Fast and Furious.
And Fast and Furious was not planned as a franchise. It was planned as a standalone movie, but it went crazy after 4.
After 4,
2 was 2 introduced Tyrese. 3 was Tokyo Drift, which is the weakest of the entire franchise.
Yeah.
And also continuity-wise, it's like takes place after 6, which really confuses the hell out of me.
But Shazam.
Yes.
Shazam, getting back on track. The Rock isn't going to be in Shazam at all?
No.
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
No,
That's like not having Lex Luthor in the Superman
I would
movie.
not be surprised if he shows up at the end.
He
or
might
something
pop
to
up at the
try
end, but the plan for Shazam is to be a light-hearted, family-friendly thing, and the Black Adam character is not really light-hearted and friendly.
No, he's not.
He will probably pop up at the end, and then he'll get his own standalone movie. Because Dwayne Johnson doesn't share the screen with with Zachary Levi.
Well, he's sharing the screen with somebody if they're going to make a movie with him.
Well, they're going to make a movie, but there's also the rumor that supposedly
Black Adam has to do something.
Well, supposedly Black Adam is. The rumor was that Black Adam was going to be the villain from Man of Steel 2.
Yeah.
First. And then he'd get his own movie.
So he's going to be introduced in Man of Steel 2?
Well, that depends on whether Matthew Vaughn says yes or no, not yet. Because clearly Matthew Vaughn's going to do the second Man of Steel movie. He's confirmed for that, or he is,
or is that still we'd really like to have?
He's
you
the person that warned
I'd really like to do it, but nobody signed a contract.
He's the former Warren is outside his house in a car, looking and going, "You sign yet? You sign yet? You sign yet?"
I mean, sure. Well, actually, you know what would be interesting is if they had Captain Marvel show up in Superman and lighten it the hell up.
That could happen. Yeah, that could happen too. But yes, Shazam will be family friendly. You've got Zachary Levi from Chuck. Chuck is playing Shazam, and you've got
is that the Chuck TV series?
Yep.
Yes,
really.
Yep.
Okay.
Also, he's also Fandral in the second Thor movie. Zachary Levi has bounced around all over the place. He was supposed to be Fandral in the first film, and he was doing Chuck, so he couldn't do it. So they got the guy who did Once Upon a Time. Then the Once Upon a Time guy wasn't available, so they said, "Well, Zach, you still want to play the character?" He goes, "I still got the tights." Okay, so then he and Mark Strong is playing Dr. Savannah.
For Mark Strong, probably the only interesting thing about the Green Lantern movie.
Yes, the only high point of the Green Lantern movie, and also he's in the Kingsman movies. And Mark Strong can do basically anything.
Well, he played a good Sinestro in that.
Yeah, Mark Strong. I've never seen Mark Strong do a bad performance in anything either.
You know, and going back to the Green Lantern movie for a minute, since you brought it up, Rod Flash. Yes. You know, that movie had a lot going for it. One of the things it didn't have going for it was a script.
Yeah,
but I never had.
They were in a hurry.
I didn't have a problem with the casting in that.
No, there's nothing wrong with the casting.
The casting was fine.
It was a film that didn't have a villain.
Oh, it had a villain already. It had too damn many villains. It had Parallax. It had Hector Hammond. It had what eventually became Sinestro, even though he's not a villain in the thing. But everyone knows knows anything about the character knows he's heading that way. No, it had too damn many villains.
Yeah. I think you could have stayed with. Well, the problem is that Green Lantern doesn't have a lot of really cool villains except Sinestro, who wasn't Sinestro evil yet. So.
Well, as I think Marvel fans have learned by this point, what DC fans already know, you've only got one or two characters in each of your universes with decent rogues galleries. Everyone else has essentially fairly lame rogues galleries. I mean, look at Captain America. Take out the Red Skull, and who do you got? Crossbones, great.
What's the doctor's name?
Dr. Faustus.
Dr. Faustus.
Okay, there's three. Okay. How long's he been around?
Hydra.
How long?
Well, you can always
Hydra's a Groot.
You can always pull up a Nazi or something for Captain America, but that's
the evil Captain America.
I mean, actually, Captain Marvel. We were talking about Shazam. Captain Marvel's got a better rogues gallery.
Yeah. Yeah, but does anyone really want to see Talkie Tawny in a movie?
No, I want to see Mr. Mind. Mr. Mind.
No, I don't want to see that either.
Talkie Tawny is not a rogue. Okay, that's essentially Jimmy Olsen in a lion costume.
Do we really want to see Mr. Mind in a movie?
No, but you've got Ibeck, you've got Dr. Savannah, you've got the Monster Society of Evil, you've got Mr. Mind, which you were just talking about. You have Black Adam. You've got a fair number. It's not the biggest rogues gallery in the world, but it's not a bad one. So when is the Shazam movie going to get rolling?
Well, I think the script's done. They just cast Levy and Savannah. So
who's writing this thing? Do you know?
I think David S. Sandberg, the guy who's directing the movie, is writing it.
Really, writer director, huh?
Yeah, and he also said he's not de-aging Billy Batson.
Does
you can't do anything. You hire Billy Batson.
Does he know anything about the character?
Does
he have a handle on the character?
He says it's going to be lighthearted and frothy and fun.
That doesn't sound good.
No, well, that's what the character's supposed to be.
I know.
That's what the character's supposed to be.
When you think about it, they kept trying to make him Superman, but a little bit more boyish. But then they tried to make him hard, and it's like, okay, Shazam is the complete opposite of that.
He's your kid's favorite hero.
I still think John Cena would have been the best choice for that.
Cena's a little busy.
Cena.
Oh, I'm sure you can find room in his schedule for a check.
He's a little busy.
I'm sure you find room.
Apparently, he's going to do the Knight Rider reboot.
You mentioned Billy Batson. Any ideas who they're going to get to Billy Batson?
Idea.
Because the first problem I would have with anybody they cast as Billy Batson is between now and the next movie, the kid's going to age considerably. Because it's going to take at least 2 years to get a sequel.
You can go from a 9 or 10-year-old to a 14 or 15-year-old. You can do that.
Oh no! I mean, he'd be Captain Marvel Jr. then.
Well, and you could go that route too.
Look at the Wonder Woman movie. When did that come out? Yeah, it came out in March, right?
Yeah.
They're still talking about Wonder Woman 2. Nothing's been done yet with it.
No, they're writing the script.
Well, if they pull the same thing with Captain Marvel, this kid's going to go from being 6 or 7 to his teens real quick. Anyway,
You just find some kid. Guess the kid from Stranger Things. He's got enough of them. Or one of the kids from It. All those kids are available.
Who just have to be a couple of kids from Stranger Things, too.
Yeah.
well, there you go. Well, fine. Do the Venn diagram. Whoever's been in both films, that's the ones you start with.
You're it. You're a kid. You got to smile a lot.
Moving over to TV. Archie. Oh, everybody loves Riverdale. What a great place to live.
No, it's not.
Archie's a gangsta.
No, it's
and
not.
You got the Black Hood running around shooting and killing people.
No, it's not.
You know what? I didn't know this. JR told me this the other day when I was talking to him. And by the way, hi JR, we miss you.
He's working overtime.
He mentioned that Jingle Jangle, the drug that they use in the thing. Yeah. You know where they got that from? Where? Jingle Jangle was the Archie's second big hit after Sugar Sugar. Oh. That was actually a song they did, Jingle Jangle.
Jingle Jangle, okay.
which goes to show you everything that's in Archie in that TV series rolls back in somewhere from Archie's history. They pull stuff out of everywhere.
Did you have the Red Circle in there also?
Yes, the Red Circle. Yeah, well, Archie started a gang called the Red Circle.
Yeah, Red Circle. That's the name of the publishing company.
And the serial killers, the Black Hood.
Someone's the Hangman got to show it.
Not Hangman, but the Black Hood.
Or the Shield.
Has been running around.
Maybe Archie becomes the Shield.
Oh, I'm waiting for the Fly.
Betty is the Fly.
But Archie TV is expanding by leaps and bounds.
You're getting a Sabrina the Teenage Witch show.
Yeah, we heard
from Greg Berlanti, who's like, dude, do you sleep? How many freaking shows are you gonna do?
Okay, now they already did a Sabrina now, and it was a very successful show. Now this was the chilling adventures.
Yes, this is the horror
Sabrina,
version.
So.
The Sabrina show they did was a sitcom.
Yeah.
This will not be a sitcom.
This will not be like
a horror show.
If you've ever read the Archie adult version of Sabrina, it'll probably be more in line.
That book, that's one of the few comics out there probably still does the nightmare thing going on.
But Robert DeGuara Sikoska, he also works in that book. So that's part. Yeah, this is when Archie became.
Just wish he hurry up and work on that Archie book.
I am betting that as much as the Archie TV series is in line with what they came up with for the new comic series, that Sabrina series is going to be right in line with the Sabrina series they've been doing with Roberto. What's his name?
Aguirre Sikoska.
Yeah,
and I will be willing to bet.
That was
Sabrina will show up probably before the end of the season of Riverdale.
Okay. Oh, I think she's going to show up long before then. They've been dropping 20-ton hints in the first couple episodes of the season.
Boom.
I mean, hell, I think the third episode they're playing Season of the Witch while they're
walking
walking around the new high school.
That was the episode where Midge and Moose was getting high for the Jingle Jangle and make it out and all of a sudden the Black Hood walks over there, knocks on the door, and just starts shooting at him.
Yeah.
So
poor Midge.
Welcome to Riverdale.
Poor Midge and Moose, they're gone. They've lost its moral coil.
Oh, you don't know that.
Well, I don't know. I haven't watched the episode after that.
My God, Archie.
How many bullets did he put in the
Archie's
car?
dad took a chest full of bullets and he was walking around by the end of the first episode
that's Luke Perry,
this season.
Damn it.
But listen, if you know about the Archie books, you know it was like basically they were like stuck in a time warp for like 60 years or something.
Yeah.
So when they came up with the idea of this, like, okay, we're going to make this we're going a little bit dark on here because if you notice stuff like Veronica's father, he's pretty much a prick in the comic, and he's a bigger jerk on here.
Yeah.
But Grundy was sleeping with Archie in the first season. Yeah. Well, she's not around for a second season. For if you haven't,
they killed her.
They killed her. Yeah.
Well, the end of last season. I forget the end of last season.
A couple episodes this season, she gets killed.
Episode 2, she's the second victim of the Black Hood.
Archie, for some reason, I'm looking at it and I'm going, damn, Archie, don't you get any sleep or something? I'm like, first off, you're dating one of the cheerleaders. You also got the Betty still sitting on the pamphlet, but now they hooked up with Jughead, which shocked the heck out of me.
Archie doesn't need sleep; he's high on speed.
Yeah, I saw that.
He's buying drugs at. He's
buying drugs. He's buying a gun from Dilton.
I got a gun. No, Dilton has turned into
a supplier. And Reggie's sort of like
a drug dealer.
He's still a jerk, and now that he's on in the books. Archie's sitting up there like, oh, I have to protect my father. You know, you took a gun to school? Yeah, really? What about it? And then they got this...
Have you seen me? I'm 28.
I'm not a kid.
You know, I used to bitch about Smallville when they were still in high school about how they had a bunch of 20-year-olds playing 13-year-olds. Because that first season, the very first episode, they're all freshmen in high school, which means they're like 13. and they're all like 20-year-olds playing 13-year-olds. But this thing, Archie, this thing has got it all over
They're
how
all
bad
20s.
Smallville was. Every damn one of them looks like they're in their late 20s.
Yeah,
and they're all pretending that they're in high school.
Well, they're seniors.
Isn't that the?
Oh, I would hope that they're seniors.
Well, isn't that the Grease curse? Because if you remember when Grease came out, everybody kept looking at it and going, "Yeah, this is a good movie." But doggone it, don't these high schoolers look kind of old? I mean, they had one character that had a 5 o'clock shadow. You go, wait a minute, he's got a 5 o'clock shadow. He's still in high school. What's up with that?
Hey, he's
Grease, and it's a musical. Nobody took it seriously.
He's an early bloomer.
Yeah, moving on from the Archie universe, Marvel, New Warriors.
Yes.
It lost its home over at ABC after
ABC,
works.
ABC Family, which is Freeform.
Freeform.
They decided not to go ahead with it. It was a half-hour comedy. It will probably be on, and as Rod mentioned, it'll probably be part of the Disney streaming service whenever it gets off the hook. They're still going to make the show, but it doesn't have a home.
A half-hour sitcom.
It's a half-hour
Okay.
sitcom. Well, you also get in the Damage Control half-hour sitcom, too.
Yeah, but that makes sense as a sitcom. New Warriors is Teen Titans.
Yeah.
But New Warriors is Squirrel Girl in it, which makes it a sitcom.
Okay, well, and they got Beast Boy in Titans. I mean,
Beast Boy's cute.
But they also have Night Thrasher and
Yeah,
New Warriors,
so-
so
but
how do you make that into a sitcom?
I don't know. Keith David's in it, so it means it can't be that funny.
Well, it depends on who you have in it.
Yeah.
You pick and choose.
Keith David's playing the mentor, so it can't be that lighthearted.
Speaking of which, what's up with Teen Titans anyway? They still working on it?
They're still working on it. The guy, Brad Anderson, who directed The Machinist with Christian Bale, he's directing the pilot.
I keep hearing about casting, for the thing, but I haven't heard about anything actually getting off the ground.
The only name so far in the thing was Anna Diop, who was in 24 Legacy. She's playing Starfire.
Yeah.
And it's also for a streaming network, which means it's not coming on network TV. It was a TNT show. Not anymore. It's going to be streaming.
On what?
Warner's going to have a streaming channel. It's going to be on there.
So we're going to have a Disney streaming and a Warner streaming.
Balkanization of TV, folks. Yes. We talked about that a couple episodes back. Finally, last media news: Doctor Who's companions.
Bradley Walsh.
The new Doctor's getting 3 companions.
Yeah. Bradley Walsh is the new companion. The other 2 people are just there. Well, friend, it was a 4th person they announced. They also said she's getting a new sonic screwdriver.
Yeah.
They're redoing the interior of the TARDIS.
Yeah.
And
they do that with every Doctor.
Well, no. This is no. This is going to be a major league revamping on the inside of the TARDIS.
Because this is because of the new writer.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. And also, it's supposed to be it's going to be a long form story. They got a 5-year plan laid out here.
Matt Smith went through 2 incarnations of the interior of the TARDIS.
Yeah. Then when Capaldi took over, they kind of did this.
They essentially
did a token one. They're going to flush the entire interior out. And there's also a rumor that you'll see Jenna Coleman in the Christmas episode, saying goodbye to Capaldi.
Yeah, good. She should say goodbye a long time ago. As JR pointed out to me when we talked about it a week or 2 ago, this will be the first time since the Peter Davidson era that you had this many companions packed into a TARDIS together flying around. Back then they had the Doctor and Adric and I forget who the hell else, but they had like 4 of them.
Tina Turner.
Tegan and
Tegan.
Yes.
Yeah, they had like 4 of them flying around.
And one of them had to go, and I remember the famous episode RORSCHACH.
Oh, speaking of Doctor Who, before we get to the next thing, Channel 20. Yes. For those of you who have been recording the old Doctor off of Channel 20, and they were running it a lot there for a while, twice a weekend. Tom Baker episodes, and then they would run other episodes, either Peter Davidson or Colin Baker episodes. They'd run those in another time slot. But Channel 20 is going off the air.
Yeah, they're gone.
They apparently they lost their license. Right now, they have a lot of filler programming from France, I think it is, that's running. But they ran a blurb across the screen this past week. It said, as of November 27th, we are gone. We will not exist anymore.
No more Channel 20.
No funding.
And they pulled like all their programming. Apparently, I assume the station's being rented out to the French channel, and I think that there's other folks who are sharing the channel right now too. But all of Channel 20's programming is gone, including, of course, the Doctor Who reruns.
Doctor Who just doesn't get a break on TV, does it? He moves from channel 11 for
buy the damn videos on from BBC America and shut up. You want to watch your shit? Pay for it.
Oh, you should talk.
Look, I remembered it. They was on Channel 11 for
all these old
20
shows,
years.
pay for it.
That to the infamous movie.
The Fox movie.
Yeah, the Fox movie. Then it switched
Hey, I
over.
love that movie.
I did too. But then all of a sudden it switched over to BBC. Then, no, it went to Sci-Fi. Then all of a sudden Sci-Fi goes, we want women to watch this. So we're going to start changing this from Sci-Fi to SY-FY. So that means
that was
women don't watch Doctor Who. So we're going to get rid of that. And we're going to start putting more on this on there.
I think the BBC had more to do with that than Sci-Fi rebranding. I think the BBC pulled it because they wanted it on BBC America.
Yeah.
You know, I think that they're the ones that pulled it from
BBC America
Sci-Fi.
was just starting at that point.
Yeah, and
you needed programming.
Well, what's the point in running our number one show on Sci-Fi when we've got our own channel on BBC
network,
America?
To fill time. We can fill our show with the network with a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, and besides, you know, it'll be a lot more prominent on BBC America than it will be on Sci-Fi. I mean, that Friday night block was great. It was Doctor Who, it was Battlestar Galactica, and then I forget what else. But that Battlestar Galactica,
Farscape. I think it was like the second last season of Farscape.
Like I said, something else.
I never any use for Farscape.
It was something else. But no, that Doctor Who Battlestar Galactica block, that was a murder road for that 2 hours. That was great, and it all went away. And so is media news, and we're going to move into wrestling news. Bo, I hear that the WWE has had some cuts. They've gotten rid of some people. Why would they get rid of some people?
Because you've got a whole bunch of people down in NXT who haven't even been on TV yet. And so
on NXT,
you've got people you've got at least about 30 wrestlers at the Performance Center who have yet to be seen on NXT television.
So what are they doing? Walking around the locker room like zombies from Living Dead?
They're down there training. They're training. And so at some point you can have some openings from the main roster. And so this week they released 3 from the main roster and 1 from the developmental. They released Emma, who was actually on TV. She's the one who got to face Asuka twice. Emma and Asuka.
You know, it's made to make money. Yeah. As she said, Emma and Asuka. It writes itself.
They released Darren Young, so you're not making Darren Young great again.
Oh, what does Bob Backlund do?
Bob Backlund's off doing whatever Bob Backlund does in his spare time. He's got a book out there somewhere, and he released Summer Rae, and people went, "I thought she was already gone."
I thought Darren Young was already gone.
Oh, Darren Young got hurt. He just came back and did a couple house shows. He never made it back to television, so they cut him. And then from developmental, they released Sawyer Fulton, who was replaced in Sanity by Killian Dane, although it was Big Damo. He got hurt. They brought in Killian Dane, and so when Fulton got healthy, they didn't even know where him to be because they're like, we have a 3-person group and we've got a female. We didn't need a 5-person group. So basically, dude, you can find something else to do, which is cute because the only reason he put him together with the other guy in Sanity was he couldn't do anything single-wise. So they made him a team member. And then he said, well, we got this big, hairy British guy we're going to bring in. And he's actually better in the ring than you are.
Who's that?
Big Damo. Killian Dane. His real name is Big Damo. Yeah, he's wearing a hair shirt literally because his shirt is just covered with hair. He looks like he really is in serious shape.
So what happened to Emma?
Emma,
when they did that whole, Emma, how come nobody pays any attention to me? No. Emma Asuka would be great at it right itself and blah, blah, blah. When they did all that, I remember watching and thinking to myself, yeah, where the hell have you been? I haven't seen you in forever.
Emma's problem was Emma was out for a while, and you remember the whole Emelina bit?
That was from this year.
Yeah, Emelina was on the way. Emelina was on the way.
She was on
the way. No. She wasn't pregnant. She was recovering from being injured.
Oh, okay.
She was on the way for about 3 months. She popped up as Emelina, and then the following week, he put it back to being just plain old Emma. Yeah, it's like, what the hell was the point behind this? But, she was...
again, that's creative dropping the ball.
She was okay. Well, yeah, she was okay in the ring, but she wasn't great. I was having a conversation with somebody on Facebook about this. He said, Darren Young will come back better. I'm like, Darren Young was an average wrestler at best. And Sarah Ray was just, people were like, is she still here? We thought she got cut a long time ago.
Now, Darren Young, didn't he do the lawyer bit? Or is that someone else I was thinking?
That was somebody else doing it. No, he didn't do a lawyer bit.
I thought he was like the lawyer for somebody.
No. He was,
because he couldn't wrestle.
Well, yeah. Well, they picked him pretty quickly.
Wasn't he part of?
He was part of
New Day.
No, he wasn't part of. No.
He was a tag team partner.
You're
with
talking
Titus
about.
O'Neil.
You're talking about Titus O'Neil, who were the primetime.
The primetime players.
The primetime players. And Darren Young was another guy who came out of the initial Nexus.
I pretty much saw them breaking up that team right there. There was an episode where they were doing commentary, Darren Young, they would say, well, Darren, say something. And he couldn't say nothing. Titus was snapping with he was quick with the whatchamacallit. And he made a comment to Jerry Lawler about a dish rag that basically went over Twitter to like 10 million people saying dish rag. Yeah, because this was like the first time they heard somebody say dish rag. On it, no ethnic background, nothing whatsoever. But the first time somebody said dish rag on that, and so I said, "What the hell? What do you say dish rag for?"
Well, what is dish rag in reference to?
To Lawler, he called Lawler, "You just old like an old dish rag." And they fell out, and they were literally laughing their heads off. Vince said he got a kick out of it, so he put Titus on there by himself. Yeah. Slowly but surely, they said, "You know what? Primetime players is good for one thing, but something about Titus, which is."
Titus has always been, in ring wise, he's adequate, but on the mic, he's great. And lately they've had him wrestling now. He's wrestling more often.
Well, he reminds me of Enzo, which we talked about in a previous show.
Yeah, on the
Enzo,
mic. Yeah.
Great on a mic. Yeah, not so much. Not so
average
much in the
at
ring.
best in the ring, but yeah, great on the mic. Mm-hmm. Oh, and then follow up to a previous show. Neville's been taken out of the opening of 205 Live, but his merchandising has not been discounted on the WWE.com website. If you know, you will know he's gone if you see his stuff on the site for 20% off or clearance bin. You know that Neville's officially gone.
Oh, clearance!
So he might still be around.
They haven't let him go, so I'm assuming he's being paid to stay home.
Because we talked about that on a previous show that Neville was gone.
No,
he's not gone yet.
He's not gone. I guess he's still on the payroll, but he's at home. He found out from Austin Aries he would make more money not wrestling for the WWE than he was making working for the WWE.
How did that work out?
Independent shows. Independent shows are willing to pay you a lot more money. They pay for your travel. You can work when you want to work, and you will actually be appreciated by the fans and the promoters because he thought he was being ignored by the WWE.
Well, I would imagine that anybody with even a little bit of talent that's not associated with the WWE would be welcomed by an independent, just because there isn't all that much out there in terms of name. There's probably a lot of talent, but there aren't a lot of names.
Cody Rhodes is making a lot more money now not working for the WWE than he did when he was working for the WWE. He signed a deal with Ring of Honor. He's wrestling in Japan. He's popped up on Impact. You know, he's working a lot more now than he worked then.
You know, he was this close to be the next world heavyweight champion. There was a storyline in place for him to be the next world champion.
Yeah, but then Vince went, he's not heavyweight champion material, and that was basically it. I can't see you carrying the belt. No, I'm sorry.
You know who was heavyweight material once upon a time?
Who?
Jeff Jarrett.
Yes, he was.
Jeff Jarrett was heavyweight material.
J-E double F J-A-R-R-E-T. Ain't I great?
Ain't I great? Yes, Jeff Jarrett. He was IC champion in WWE.
Yes, he was
forever.
For quite a while.
Well, him and his guitar.
Yeah,
they were IC champions.
Yeah, well, and by the way,
have you ever noticed that him and the Honky Tonk Man were both IC champions forever, and they're both IC champions primarily because of their guitars.
And of course,
I'm surprised that nobody else has done the guitar gimmick. I know what's his face. So.
Well, no, Elias is using the guitar gimmick, but now he's starting to hit people with a guitar.
Yes, I've noticed.
He's actually getting injured with the way he swings that.
Yeah.
So.
He's been dragging his guitar around with him, to play, but he's actually starting to use it as a weapon.
He's actually hitting people with it.
That's not a cheap guitar either.
No,
well, when they start hitting people with it will be.
It gets cheaper at that point. Now, I'm quite sure there's a whole box office full of guitars for me to use.
Not to get off the Jeff Jarrett thing, but talking about Elias, I have noticed that in the last 2 weeks, they've actually started to ramp up the whole Elias thing. I mean, for the longest time, he would just come out, sing, get interrupted,
get booed,
and basically just get the hook off the stage. I mean, they just black out the lights and, hey, look, the match is starting.
Who wants to walk with Elias?
Who wants to walk with Elias? But just in the last...
Who lost his last name because he was Elias Sampson.
Not just Elias.
No, he's just plain old Elias.
But they've ramped up his bit now over the last 2 weeks. He's actually wrestling and hitting people with the guitar and actually getting involved in stuff, which took forever.
He's getting better as a wrestler. Well, he was a guy who was okay, but he's getting better. He's hanging around the main roster, you get to learn more stuff. But getting back to Jeff Jarrett, Jeff's no longer with Impact. Well, GFW, which is now back to being Impact, because they let him go. And Jeff is he's in WWE sponsored rehab.
WWE sponsored.
Yes, they're paying for his rehab.
Why is Vince paying for it?
Because they've got a plan set up that if you ever worked in the WWE ever, and you have a chemical problem, you have a drinking problem, they will send you to rehab.
Really?
Yeah, that's
Vince will.
Yeah.
Okay.
You sent Sonny there. Scott Hall's been there a number of times. But yeah, Jeff had a
Well, I don't think Scott Hall is exactly the poster child for WWE Rehab working it.
Well,
Scott
Hall's been fine because DDP's clean.
DDP's clean and sober program. Yeah, not the WWE's.
Yeah, but Jeff had a little bit of a drinking problem, and now he's in rehab getting himself together.
Oh, good for him. Yeah. What you mentioned the whole Impact in GSP.
GFW,
I'm sorry.
GFW, Global Force Wrestling, which was the company that Jarrett came up with when he left Impact. There was a deal to have GFW and Impact merge for Anthem. The deal was never signed, and so the GFW name is going to be slowly moved away from Impact, it'll just be Impact again. And they're also making a move to not do the shows in Florida anymore. Yes.
Folks, if you're wondering how Bo knows all this,
Bo knows.
Bo knows because Bo sends me the news that I post on the website every week. And
I scour the globe for this news.
Yes, he does. He scours the globe. He sends me media news, wrestling news, and comic book news, and you can find all that at myalternatereality.com. What he is talking about right now, I just posted on the website.
Poor Jeff.
You know, check out Bo's news on the website at some point. I don't pimp that enough on here, and I should. You need to. Well, it'd be nice if you got off your ass and reminded me.
Hey,
you are sitting here.
Yes.
But yeah, I just posted it up on the website first week in November. So yeah, check out the store's website. Bo's got news on there every single day, something different every day.
And Impact is moving its way towards being a Canadian-based company.
Oh, so that means no Mr. Paul there, huh?
No, Jim Cornette is not allowed in Canada. So he's not making the trip in for Bound for Glory. They're going to do Bound for Glory and about 5 TV shows. Other than that, they want to get out of away from making shows in Florida because Florida has that TNA stink to it.
Well,
and they kind of like to separate themselves from the TNA stink.
Well, Florida also has NXT.
Yeah, and also has NXT, but and I think they want to get out of there because Anthem, the company that owns Impact, is actually based in Canada, and so people who can't get into Canada, unlike Jim Cornette, can work there.
The first show that they wanted to do, wasn't there something about they're doing it in some sort of, not a VFW hall, but in some sort of convention hall that doesn't have bleachers?
They're doing it in a convention hall, which they've got to completely redo. It's basically an open floor event thing, so they've got to build bleachers.
There was like a flower show in there or something?
Flower shows, old folks' homes, graduation parties. They got to build bleachers. They got to build locker rooms. They got to build bathrooms. There's only about 3 bathrooms in this big, huge 5,800 seat building, but there's no seats. So they've got to turn this into a venue and put 500 seats up, and then they'll have people come in. And I'm assuming the same deal with the shows in Florida. They won't charge people for coming in.
This may be the first time you have a professional wrestling event that's filled with porta potties.
Could be. Well, the building is big,
which will be great.
Well, so I'm assuming because Bound for Glory I think is actually I think Bound for Glory is tomorrow. It's on November the 5th or something like that. So they had to basically redo this arena so that the wrestlers have somewhere to dress. You don't want them dressing outside. It's Canada. It's probably kind of cold.
Yeah.
And people who went to the building would kind of like to go to the bathroom. So you need more than 2 bathrooms. So they were working very feverishly on turning this thing into something they can shoot the shows in because they got to shoot the next 5 episodes of Impact.
You know, if they were smart, if they're actually dragging porta potties in, they would use those as part of the show.
Porta potty on a pole.
You can do a lot of fun things with a porta potty.
They looking for plunder.
In a wrestling
they looking for plunder.
An outhouse.
It could be the first time that they pitched a porta potty into the ring.
Hey.
Hit people. 2 guys pick up a porta potty and hit a 3rd guy with it.
That would be great. Rose, you do the show, they had a falls because anyone said, in the bathroom looking for plunder.
Okay, American Dream. That would be the first time anybody ever did that, and they would get publicity out of that. Picking up a porta potty and pitching it in someone's head.
No, I think they've done that. There was a
porta potties.
No, there was a Starcade match where they was fighting in a porta potty.
Well, they were fighting in the bathroom. Yeah.
Matter of fact, I believe Virgil got tossed in one.
I think he threw someone into a porta potty.
I think Virgil got tossed in a porta potty one time.
And he went, oh my God, it smells horrible in here. WCW came up with a lot of smart ideas, including, remember the Dustin Rhodes match where they were wrestling on the back of a truck?
Yeah, back of a moving truck.
That was classic. That was classic.
They had a helicopter following them.
Yeah, helicopter following them. They were wrestling on the back of a flatbed truck.
That was Turner with Turner's money. I mean, they would come up with these half-ass ideas that Turner would bankroll. Yes, we'll put him on the back of a flatbed. We'll run him down an interstate. We'll have a helicopter follow him.
Yes, we'll have the natural Dustin Rhodes wrestle. I forget who he was fighting. He was fighting somebody.
It Dustin's last match, I think, before he came to
turned
WWE
to Goldust.
and turned into Goldust. Yeah, I think that was his last match at WCW.
Yeah, a bunch of those silly matches.
So you got these two guys fighting in the back of a flatbed, going like 30, 35 miles.
Driving down the highways in Atlanta.
And you could him and Barry Windham.
Oh yeah, it was Barry Windham.
And you could tell that the only thing that was on their mind was,
please
don't get knocked off of the truck.
Please don't let me fall to the street. Please.
Whatever you do, don't hit me so hard that I lose my balance and I tumble out of the truck at 30 miles an hour.
I'm going to really hurt myself.
Yeah, I'm going to kill myself. And one of the things you don't have to worry about, though, on the back of a flatbed is comic news, because we've got comic news. Man, that was a lame transition.
Man, that was a horrible
transition on my part. But we got to get to the comic news.
Transition alert.
Transition alert. Milestone Media.
Yes, they're back.
Milestone Comics.
They're back.
Is back.
Well, no.
For real.
Yes, they announced this in 2015.
Well,
and this is 2017.
The Milestone 22.0 was coming back.
It's a long return.
And now in 2018,
yeah.
Milestone will come back.
Okay, now
2.0.
Here's a question I had. They've had various legal problems in getting back. What's held them back is not people wanting to work on the books or work on the characters. The problem they've had is legal problems with rights issues.
Well, they announced that they were going to do it. Jim Lee was involved when they first made the announcement. Jim Lee's not involved with it now.
Yeah.
Then about earlier this year, the wife of Dwayne McDuffie sued, saying that they were reviving Milestone without talking to the family. And
because apparently when Dwayne died, the rights reverted to her.
Well,
being the legacy.
She claims the rights reverted to her.
But they probably would.
But the other partners also had rights.
Well, they do, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, his rights would revert to her. So maybe, not blanket rights for the entire company.
So I think it was like 25% of it went back to her. And I guess he said, you made this deal without talking to me. But it's like, they made this announcement in 2015. What the hell were you waiting for?
So it's coming back, and how many books is it going to have?
4 books to begin with. Well, three regular books and a limited series, and then there'll be more after that. And most of these books are going to be written by Reginald Hudlin, who directed Marshall,
who wrote all those Black Panther books.
And wrote all the Black Panther.
And also the CEO of BET.
And also the CEO of BET. So Reginald Hudlin, who has been working on writing these scripts for these books since 2015, because all the scripts are in the book. He's got them. They're all in.
Well, I don't know. How much input does DC have with this?
None. They're a separate imprint.
Reginald Hudlin was working for Marvel when he did Black Panther.
Yeah.
He did the whole Black Panther getting married thing. And he married Storm, and they were married for a couple of years, and then he left the book for whatever reason. And then Marvel, at some point shortly thereafter, said, "Yeah, we don't want him married, so screw that." Yeah, and so they got divorced in 2 panels.
Yeah, he left the book to do movies.
But they basically backpedaled on everything he did within a year or two after he left. And he came in with huge fanfare. And they made a big stink about everything he did for the first couple of years. We talked about this before. He's the guy that did the Black Panther versus Captain America comic miniseries. Yeah. He's also the guy that, like I said, married off Storm to Black Panther, which brought the mutants into the Black Panther universe and vice versa.
Well, I would imagine that him being in charge of BET, you'll get a lot of ads on BET talking about the fact that, hi, I'm working on these books. I'm writing 3 of the 4 books. You've got... Dennis Cowan's drawing 1 book, which is it's called Milestone with Icon and Static. He's also writing another book. He's also writing the new Static book, which Kyle Baker's going to draw. And Kyle Baker's been quiet, so basically he's been drawing it. And he's writing a book that's being drawn by Ryan Benjamin, who used to work a lot at Wildstorm. And Greg Pak's doing a zombie makeover, which was an underrated book. It didn't sell a lot, but it was an underrated, and it was a damn good book. But it's 4 books, and it'll take place on Earth M. So it's kind of like the Wildstorm deal, where it's part of the DC universe, but not really part of the DC universe. You won't have Superman showing up. Hi, how you guys doing?
Well, are they going to twist themselves into contortions about where it actually fits in the DC universe? I mean, Earth M, is that like one of the 52? It's one that's sandwiched in there.
It's one of Grant Morrison's 52 worlds. It'll be the same thing as the Wildstorm world, where you've got where the Green Arrow there is not the Green Arrow in the regular DC universe. The Green Arrow in the Wildstorm universe is a serial killer.
But even though it's not owned by DC, it would still fit in with the Grant Morrison big map of the universe.
It would fit into the Grant Morrison big map of the universe, because Grant Morrison is basically slowly but surely wandering his way back into working with mainstream DC stuff, because he was off doing his own stuff for quite a while, and now he sort of dipped his toe back in.
Well, he's got Happy coming up on Sci-Fi.
Yeah, Happy's coming up. Yeah,
I would assume he'd be busy with that. If that thing is any sort of success at all, once the money starts rolling in on that, you might not see him doing any more work over at DC.
Yeah, well, Morrison probably has more. Morrison's probably like Alan Moore. He's got like 4,000 ideas in his head, and he only has so much time to do everything else. So he'll keep dabbling into comics. I mean, he does all those Hindu books over there that people go, what the hell?
I think that Hindu line has been canceled.
Well, I think the company went into business.
Yeah, I think that they originally were Virgin.
Richard Branson.
Yeah, Richard Branson, and it was all Indian books.
Yeah.
It lasted like 3-4 years, then it went under, disappeared for a while, and now it's back as Graphic India.
Yeah.
Its output hasn't been as big this time as was previously under Virgin. It's probably because they don't have Branson underwriting it.
They don't have the cash.
But it's essentially the same books. It's the same types of books. When we were talking about Milestone, Rodney, you were working at that other comic book store back in the time when Milestone would have been on the racks. Do you remember anything from that? From that era? Well, that would have been late 80s, early 90s?
I do remember that the books came out on time. There were...
do you remember how many titles were there back then? It was 5 titles, 6 titles?
There was Hardware, Static. There was 2 team books. One book was called Blood Syndicate. It was about a gang of super people. And there was this other book called The Shadow Cabinet. Zombie was like the weird old X-Files book on the side.
Yeah.
Zombie with an X.
Yeah. Xombi,
right?
For some reason. And not only that, they also did the crossover that came out on time. The thing about it was that
was the Dakota Universe crossover.
Yes.
Right?
Because apparently there was a big gang fight in this little city called Dakota, and the government threw a bomb on there and supposedly turned everybody into like superhumans and stuff.
Smart move.
Yeah. But at the time, the breakout hit of it, of course, was Static.
Yeah.
They thought it was going to be Hardware, but Hardware was... Everybody kept calling it Black Iron Man. Then they realized Hardware was killing people.
Hardcore was drawn by what? Dennis Cowan.
Dennis Cowan. It looked good, but then they were pushing off Icon as this Superman-like character.
John Paul Leon started doing Static.
He did Static, then he switched over to Shadow Cabinet, his stuff was like very moody. It was like almost like Bill Sienkiewicz stuff.
He's got a really interesting, dark, heavy black ink style. It's really good. I mean, he doesn't work a lot, but his stuff's always highly. He's doing a Kurt Busiek book, Batman book, which is coming out, I think, at the end of the month.
But yeah, the books were good for the while. Even the crossover with the reign of Superman characters at the time. But for some reason or another, I guess when the money had dried up, they stopped coming. And I think 24, 25, or 28 was like the last issue for a couple of them.
Their last issues were right around the time that I first opened Alternate Reality up in 1994. I remember the very last couple issues. As a matter of fact, I think they came up with like some dollar books. It was an effort to try to get people
back into the line.
Issue. These books are only $1, and they're jump on here books.
Well,
but they weren't reprints; they were new, but they were $1. And
what I remember
it didn't work.
What I remember about this when they made the debut, that was when the Comic-Con was out there at Rosemont, and they were all there together pimping the books.
Yes.
And I remember walking up to Dennis Cowan going, "Hey Dennis, how you doing?" He's like, "You talk to me like a regular person." You're not going, "Oh, Mr. Cowan, you're the greatest I've ever seen." He goes, "I like that." And Michael Davis, one of the original founders, that's when they kicked him out.
He became quite vocal about being kicked out.
Yeah.
He was online on Comic Book News saying the whole story behind Milestone 2.0. He said that you guys got ganked by DC because DC's Dark Universe is basically them saying we can do Milestone, but guess what? We don't have to call these Milestones, so we don't have to do these characters.
I don't think DC's Dark Universe has anything to do with the Milestone characters. It's a whole negative zone shot through Batman from what I've seen so far.
Yeah,
everybody in the damn thing's a Batman doppelganger of some way, shape, or
and also
form. And they're all dark and evil.
Yeah, the story came out this week that the Batman Who Laughs, he's not going away when this thing's over with.
Oh, I know. That's all I keep hearing. That's the most popular character out of the whole metal thing is the Batman Who Laughs.
Yeah. But Michael Davis came up as bitter because after Milestone ended, he never found work again.
Did Michael Davis even write a Milestone? I know he did. He
helped work on a couple of things, and also did. You had Jim Owsley at that point. Well, Christopher Priest. Back then, was still Jim Owsley before he changed his name, and we've never got an explanation for why he changed his name. Why'd you change your name? I don't know.
Christopher Priest sounds better than Jim Owsley.
Well, I assumed it because he's goofy.
Have you ever seen? You've ever saw Christopher Priest in person?
No, I don't think I've ever seen him.
He dresses very hip.
He's very flamboyant, right?
He was no, he's not gay.
No, I don't mean that. No, I don't mean that.
He kind of dressed like when I saw him, he was kind of dressed like a pirate.
Okay. That's what I meant. Yeah. Flamboyant, as in no, not gay, goofy.
Yeah, and his biggest claim to fame as Jim Owsley was he was one of the first black Marvel editors. There weren't any of black Marvel editors until he showed up. And then all of a sudden he was, he's Christopher Priest. Like,
You were talking about the net just a few minutes ago.
Yes.
Tony Bernard apparently has had it with Facebook, and he's shutting down his page. I actually was on his page on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I take Wednesdays to go back into the office and work on all sorts of stuff. And I was on Facebook, and I saw the posting on my page about how Tony Bernard said, I'll be shutting this down in a couple of days.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody, for being my friends, and for those of you who haven't, okay, I'm shutting this down in a couple of days.
Yeah, he's basically he's like, I'm just going away. He says, I enjoy the discourse, and he enjoyed having these nice, great arguments, which you have on Facebook with all these hyper conservatives and Trump fans. So yeah, he's decided to shut down his thing, and that's what I talked about, the concept of comic creators and social media. A lot of most people's interaction, aside from just picking up a coming show and picking up a book, is interacting with them on social media. Stephen Grant and I basically bounce off conversation with each other almost every other day, And Bill Sienkiewicz is also active, and Eric Larson talks about work process and stuff. And so a lot of fans' interaction has been with not, I read the book, but I can talk to them on social media. I could talk to them on Twitter. I could talk to them on Instagram, and that's where that's where the fandom is. You don't have to go to a con anymore to meet someone. You go, I'm your friend on Facebook, and you start having a conversation.
That's the same thing I did with Larry Hamill.
Yeah.
Asked him a simple question about a book, and he answered. Then it's like every week, if a question comes up that's interesting, I answer. He comes right back and answers like 2 minutes later.
Yeah, Larry Hamill, Fabian Nicieza, there are a bunch of guys that are quite active on social media.
I'll tell you, my attitude towards that, I prefer the time when you didn't know these people and all you knew about them was their work. Where you didn't know anything about them. I have had one or two good interactions with some people. Norm Breyfogel's one of them. I think Norm's a pretty decent guy, and he's had some problems over the last couple of years. He had a stroke a few years ago, and he's had a bad patch, and I hope he's doing better. But I've also had some pretty negative interactions with some people too. No, actually Ethan Van Sciver. I was on his page for a couple of months before I realized, you're a troll.
Yeah, you're a hyper-conservative.
Well, not all hyper-conservatives are trolls, but there are a lot of trolls out there who are hyper-conservative. So, I wound up dropping him and a bunch of other people.
EVS has been dropped by a whole bunch of people in and out of comics on Facebook. They all talk about it on Facebook. We dropped him because he's a twit.
Well, I gradually got to the point where I would just as soon not know who these people are and not know what they feel about Trump or Obama or Clinton or healthcare or any topic you want to pick out of the sky, because I would much rather just know you by your work and leave it at that. I really don't want to know you as a person. Because it colors
it distorts
it colors and distorts what you're looking at. I really like Ethan Van Sciver's work, and I would just as soon not have my perception of that work colored by whatever he's like in real life. And you know what? He has the right. He has the right to believe whatever the hell he wants to believe. All at the bottom line for me is all I give a damn about is the book out and does it look pretty? Yeah. Book's out and looks pretty. That should be all I care about. Okay, if you think something that I don't necessarily agree with, okay, fine. I don't want to know about it. And I won't know about it through the art, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't mind.
And as far as the writing goes, the majority of writers I've run into, as far as their work goes, don't grind axes because the companies have no interest in them grinding an axe when you're writing a superhero story.
No, if you look at Brian Bendis' Facebook page and his Instagram page, it's basically photos of him telling, these are the books I'm working on, this is stuff, and saying about this. And a lot of stuff with his kids. He's a lot of, in fact, he's lost a crap load of weight. He's gotten small, but he posts a lot of photos of him and his kids. Yeah. His multi-ethnic family, because here he's a Jewish guy, he's got black kids.
Chuck Dixon has been a Batman Punisher guy. Yeah. And while I like Batman, I don't have a lot of use for Punisher, except for the Warren Ellis stuff. That stuff was funny as hell. But I never had a lot of use for the Punisher, and Batman's okay, but I can dive in and out of the Batman universe on a regular basis and not get too worked up about any of it. But it doesn't surprise me that he's on both of those books, and I really don't have a lot of feel for his writing because of that. He's never written Superman, but I can see, knowing what he's like, that he would never have written Superman. You don't have any interest in that. He wouldn't be a good fit for the character, and he probably wouldn't be comfortable writing the character.
No, and they would never offer him the character. They go, you don't know what to do with this.
Yeah,
that makes Superman there's gritty.
There's certain creators that just don't fit on certain books.
And that's social media. And we're done with the news. And now you know what time it is. It's time for your Rorschach test. I have one word that I'm going to throw out there, and I want both of you to tell me the first thing that comes in your mind. Rod, you're going first this time. And the word is pumpkin spice.
God, let it be over.
What?
Yes. I saw pumpkin spice Cheerios. I walked out the store.
Really? Pumpkin spice Cheerios?
Yes, I'm through. Listen, I love pumpkins as much as the next person, but please, it's like every commercial, every newscaster going, oh, I wonder how that is in pumpkin spice. How about do your job, okay? You just talked about a train wreck over West College. But hey, we got pumpkin spice Cheerios.
The people on the train were drinking pumpkin spice lattes, okay?
I hope they got drunk. Really.
I don't know if they get drunk off a latte.
I'm sick. I'm telling you, this is like...
You might get a urinary tract infection.
Listen,
I don't know about getting drunk.
No lie, they have pumpkin spice Pringles.
Yes, they do.
It's disgusting.
I was like, really? This is disgusting. This is disgusting.
Hey, you eat Pringles. What more do you want?
I don't want pumpkin spice on it. God. It'd be like a real live pumpkin. Basically, October 31st, the pumpkin's out. November 2nd, it's rotted. It's dead, put in the garbage. Well, do pumpkin spice like that.
But they're limited editions.
Oh, okay.
Like the McRib.
They're
like
going
to...
Which is back right now. Limited edition
God.
McRib.
Hey, I don't have a problem with pumpkin spice.
You know, I'm friends with my doctor now. I don't need to be talking about McRib or pumpkin spice.
No. I haven't had a McRib since they first introduced it.
Oh, you had one when they first introduced it.
Yeah,
you
I had
see
one
what it was
then,
like.
and said never again. No. Disco Demolition Night.
I was there.
At Comiskey Park.
I was there.
I was working Disco Demolition Night. We were there for Disco Demolition Night. The show was over with. We left at like 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, whatever it was. We're coming home. We go to the McDonald's on 111th and Halsted, and that was when the McRib was first introduced.
Oh.
I had one and went, God, this sucks. And I never had one again.
That's okay. Wait till they put pumpkin spice on that McRib.
Hey, well, no.
Pumpkin spice McRib,
Oh,
man.
God.
I haven't actually eaten a McDonald's hamburger in, I think, about 5-6 years. I just don't go
You're
there.
not missing anything.
No, because it's a fast food hamburger. There's better hamburgers.
No, I
out
mean,
there.
fast food is okay, but you're not missing anything with
Yeah, but
McDonald's.
but when I was on my recent vacation, I'm walking around and see this orange thing inside a thing, and I go, what the heck is this? And it was Starbucks limited edition pumpkin spice latte. And so I went, I got to get one of these. And it was delicious. I brought them home in my luggage, and all of a sudden they're here.
That's okay.
Pumpkin spice latte.
So you're responsible for pumpkin spice invading Chicago then.
Pumpkin spice latte.
So the first thing that came into your mind was probably
pumpkin spice
yum.
Yum. I've always loved pumpkins. It's good. They got pumpkin spice cupcakes.
I know.
Pumpkin spice cupcakes.
The Dunkin' Donuts had to toss out a whole thing of pumpkin spice donuts because people was going, you know what? Halloween's over. How long has those donuts been sitting out there?
I was in Dunkin' Donuts about a month ago. There's one kitty corner here from the store, and I go over there almost every day to get coffee. Occasionally, I'll get a donut or something. Usually,
pumpkin muffin. They get
usually just coffee. Yes, pumpkin muffins. And I was telling the girl that was working over the counter because we're just chit chatting. So you guys only sell 3 donuts. You sell cake donuts. Mm-hmm. You sell regular donuts that are full of air.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then you sell the donuts that have something squirted into it, like jelly
Boston
or
cream,
Boston cream or something.
Lemon cream. They had croissants over
there. Well, that's specialty stuff.
Yeah.
That's like an apple fritter or bagels. You're getting into specialty stuff.
Yeah.
But as far as donuts go, they only make 3 donuts. And everything on top of that is a variation. Now, on the cake donuts, you got chocolate, you got pumpkin spice, you got glazed. You have plain cake. On the ones that you squirt stuff into, you got Boston cream, you got jelly, you got the lemon filling, and the ones that are just full of air, you got chocolate, vanilla, a variety of sprinkles, strawberry
sprinkle, chocolate sprinkles,
maple
sprinkles. But they're pimping maple now.
But when you come down to it, they've only got 3 donuts. Yeah. That's it.
Let me let you in on a secret. I used to work at Dunkin' Donuts, and they only got one kind of donut. That's food coloring, and then it's some sort of mixture that they make the flavor like it's artificial. They don't use real lemons in there for the lemon donuts. And Boston cream is basically a mixture of that.
For that, you got to go to Krispy Kreme.
Yeah. Krispy Kreme. Oh. But yeah, they don't use real stuff in Dunkin' Donuts no more.
They don't even.
I don't think they did. I am old enough to remember standing in Dunkin' Donuts and looking through the window and seeing the guy cook the donuts. They used to. I know some people might be scratching their heads with this, and it was more than one Dunkin' Donuts. My grandmother used to live out in Indiana, and there was one out in Miller that we would stop off at on the way back to Chicago, and the one that's in Oak Lawn on Cicero and 100th Street, 99th Street. There used to be a Dunkin' Donuts. Actually, it's gone now. But there used to be one there on the west side of the street. I remember it, same thing there, too. And I'm sure that was in one or another Dunkin' over the years when I was real little. This is back in the 60s. You would have a guy working there 24/7, day and night. He'd be making donuts in there. He'd be literally in there making donuts. And I remember he'd roll out the dough and he'd sit there and watch the whole process. Slap it down, sprinkle flour on top of it. Then he'd have a cutter, and it'd be bump, 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 bump. The cutter that he had in his thumb, it was like a big ring.
Yep.
And he just boom, 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 all the way around, make as many as he could. Then he'd pick them all up with his hand, balancing them on his thumb, so he would have a ring of donuts on his thumb. He'd take it over, throw them in the deep fryer, drop them, go back and do it over again. And that was his job all night long. You'd sit there and you'd watch him make these donuts. And now, of course, they're trucked in and made somewhere like 4 days ago.
They're trucked in around 11:30 midnight.
Yeah, and
when it was a Dunkin' Donuts at 95th and Dan Ryan, I would be there at night leaving work because I got off work at 11. I would get there around midnight, and the truck would be there, and he'd be dropping off like about 4 pallets of donuts.
But they actually used to make them fresh at Dunkin' Donuts.
Yes, used to.
On a regular basis. And I'm not saying they tasted any better. You know, I'm a firm.
No, they taste about the same.
I'm a firm believer in when you were little, things probably tasted better than they do when you get older, just because your taste buds are new, and as they get older, you probably aren't able to taste nearly as much as you used to.
Well, that you also don't remember.
No, you're probably also jaded when you get older. You're probably just gonna know.
That's part of it.
Well, you get to the point where you start eating donuts when you're 5 or 6. By the time you get in your 20s, okay, they're donuts. What's the big deal?
Yeah. And that's it. We're done. We're finished. We're out of here. We've got no more news and no more time to talk about Dunkin' Donuts or pumpkin spice anything.
Where are the donuts?
They're over at Dunkin' Donuts.
Yuck.
Which, as I said before, is Kitty Corner from Alternate Reality, which is located at the intersection of 111th and Kedzie in beautiful downtown Mount Greenwood. Alternate Reality are all new comics for 15% off. All first issues are 25% off on the day they come out. And we have 2 books of the week that are 40% off every week, along with a plethora. That means a lot. Plethora of other sales. Stop on by.
It's a Googleplex.
For the Alternate Reality, Rodney, say goodbye.
Goodbye, Rodney.
Bo, say goodbye to the folks.
I want donuts. I can't say goodbye. I gotta go. See ya.
Okay, he's going for donuts.
Yeah.
And this is Comic Book Man saying, bye.